Hello and welcome to the terrace, or is this tagged on? Who knows? I don't even know how this is going to work. But it is announcement day. The squad's been named. It's Christmas. We're here. We're going. Things are actually really happening. And to talk it through is me, Tony Anderson, and my hairy friend. It's Graeme Thewliss. Graeme, how are you? Did you enjoy that today?
I did enjoy that. Do you know what I really again, I was kind of curious because I'd heard from a couple of guys at Scottish FA, but they were really excited with the announcement video and they were really pleased with how it turned out and stuff like that. And like, I was a bit curious how it was going to go, like, because I thought the one they did for Euro 2020 was class, like just getting loads of different people to be part of the announcement at a time in the world when nobody fucking saw anybody, right? And I thought that was class. I thought it was spot on. I thought it was really, really good. I was a bit curious how you're going to do it this time because you kind of feel like you've seen all of these before. Like everything you've seen it before anyway. And this one was just like, it's just cool folk that you know, hanging out, having a party, kind of very counter to what it was last time where everyone was very distant. It's just, actually, we're all just having a great time. And it just felt like a Scotland thing that you want to be a part of. Like, this is a Scotland team, this is a Scotland squad, this is a Scotland event that you get to be a part of, everybody wants to be a part of. This is going to be fucking class. I really enjoyed it. It was just like, it's not too overthought. It did not have Joel DJing, despite the fact that quite a few people thought Pat Nevin looked like Joel, which I don't know who that's better or worse for. We got to see Craig G. Telfer in the middle of that as well, try to lay out his Riz. Fair play to him. All very good. Is Craig G. Telfer the new Riz King? Who can tell? But yeah, it was. I really enjoyed it. Like, just a good laugh.
I think now that he's got his hair tied up and ready, I know that's been years in the making. I think we are he is the Riz King of Scottish.
Yes, he's Craig G. Telfer is Scottish football's Riz King. I think it's very clear about that.
Yeah, and I'm the same. I quite enjoyed it. These things are very difficult to land, in my opinion. And it's the sort of thing, like from someone who's worked in doing content before, right? I tend to find, right, the things that you put so much thought into and try and explain in like a 3-minute long video, you put tons and tons of thought and effort and time into something, actually just make it fucking dead easy. Like, this is just fun and it's cool. These are cool people. These are people you like, having a good time. Class. Frankie Boyle in there, obviously not getting involved in the party. That's his shtick. That works. Everyone playing the correct character they expect them to play. Yeah, I'm the same. I thought it worked. Still don't know what the chicken was. I feel like we were led up the garden path with that. I don't know if that was, but that actually caused some build up. To be fair,
I genuinely don't like. It's one of those things like they'll put that in for France because it's France '98. So the last time we all did this was France '98. The last time we all went together and had a carry on with France '98. Anything that happened in COVID, as we've discussed previously, is not canon. Didn't happen. Not real.
So the ball didn't go above David Marshall. It didn't go in for that.
But Euro 2020 is just blank. It's right into the memory hole. St Johnstone didn't win their cups. Rangers didn't win the league. None of these things happened. Hearts were still relegated. None of these other things happened.
England still lost the final.
Correct, yes.
So we can pick and choose. And talking of picking and choosing, Graeme,
look at that. Look at that.
Steve Clark managed to bring us 28 names. I don't know if you agree, I felt there was a lack of jeopardy simply because we've got a decent chunk of injuries. And with the fact it got raised to 26 and he was bringing 28 along, do you feel anyone's missed out as such?
I don't think anyone's missed out, so to speak. Like, I think Tommy Conway and Max Johnson might consider themselves a wee bit hard done by when you look at, for example, like, I'm slightly surprised that Clark didn't do this, actually, in that even between now and the start of the tournament, or now and the deadline for registering the squad, I kind of feel there's a couple of players within this squad that must be on the brink of being fit or not fit. And then you look at what England did, which they went too far the other way for me. They've got like a 33-man training group. And as well as that, like, there's so few of them that you're learning anything about, that you know who all these guys are.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm slightly, I don't know, I'm not massively surprised. I thought he might bring along Conway. I thought he might bring along Johnson to be part of the group so that, again, should something happen in training, something should happen in the friendlies and stuff like that as well. And given that the rate we're fucking burning through players doesn't seem out with the realms of possibility, I was surprised he maybe didn't bring them in as well, at least just to have part of the group. Because
add a bit of spice, maybe like a bit of it, like something to be earned in these friendlies and in these training that there is a bit of jeopardy for people, and really it creates that sort of club atmosphere where people are a wee bit on edge and they feel like they need to push. And that you can argue these things focus the mind. We are podcasters. We are looking for something here that probably isn't there.
Give us something. But no, I don't disagree with you on that either at all. It gives it a little bit of something more. Again, maybe Johnston's slightly different in the basis that I think it's fairly clear that he's going to be playing Ralston and McCrory and possibly Forrest at that right wing back role. Each of the three of them are going to be the ones battling for that starting spot in Germany. Against Germany, they're going to be the three that are looking to take that spot. So I suppose if you add in a fourth one in there, like you're basically giving each of them a half theoretically to try and prove themselves. But yeah, just in terms of like these look like two guys that are going to become part of the squad longer term. So I was, as I say, just a little bit surprised they weren't dropped in there just to be part of the group and start to introduce them and give them that sort of the build up and just quite how I think we've seen this throughout Scotland under Clark. In that, and we've discussed this previously, when Scotland aren't turned up to 11, when they're not at 100%, they do not play the same. They're not as nearly as good a team. I suspect through the two friendlies and the build-up to turning up in Munich, we will be turned up to 11 by the time we arrive in Munich. And essentially the two friendlies are going to be two tune-up games to get us right up to that speed. There's a lot of players here who have played a lot of football. They need to be ready and be sharp for that. So they will be, it's that sort of like iron sharpens iron type of mentality, which I kind of feel is it's a cliche, but I do feel like it's part of Clark's squad. Guys like Robertson, guys like McGinn are demanding. They are expectant of people around them. And particularly going into the tournament, something like that could be really beneficial to somebody like Johnson or Conway. That said, they're not realistically going to be starters or
come off the bench.
Contribute a huge amount in Germany. So, like I say, slightly surprised, but again, it's certainly not a criticism. It was just like an observation more than anything else.
And the way, obviously, the other way we could have went is maybe, obviously, with the 28, he maybe went with a few more young players, so like Watson or Miller from Motherwell, Barron from Aberdeen, but he has done the wild card. I mean, but he's brought a wild card that we could possibly need. So I think this one's quite nice, and it's a wild card that we don't have. We all those other players I named, they would literally be coming along for the experience, whereas Doak is coming along for the experience, but also possesses things we just don't have. And Clark said this specifically in his chat.
Yeah, I think I remain not as far as unconvinced. I remain curious about Doak in terms of what his contribution will be. He is a player that is long talked about, and again, despite it sounds daft because he is 18 years old, there's a lot of expectation. There's a lot of expectation on Ben Doak, and there has been for a long time. He's been really unfortunate this year in terms of the injury.
Really isn't frustrating that because
just that exact moment.
He was going. It's not that he was going to play 50 games, but he was going to hit 16, 17, decent. He would probably have been hitting around 800 minutes, maybe, like something like that, like 500, 800 minutes. And you feel at the level he's playing, you would have got a feel for him then. And then you'd actually be thinking, he could have been pushing for, I don't know, you don't know how he's going to play, but I feel that those opportunities were being presented to him, and he would have been able to build up towards it. And Liverpool got more injuries towards the end, where I think he would have definitely hit those minutes. So I think it's maybe a wee bit unfortunate for us that maybe Doak could have been more ready ready as a wild
card. Absolutely agree. But I mean, we have the blueprint for this. The blueprint for this is Billy Gilmour. Billy Gilmour is the last, and again, sounds stupid to talk about Billy Gilmour in these terms. He's 22 years old. But you look at Gilmour at the last tournament, and Clark brought him in kind of late in the day when the squads were expanded and dropped him in and played him. And from that point forward, has never looked back. He has been a sensation. He has been a different level to Scotland player than we are ultimately used to. He has a quality on the ball that nobody else in that squad has as well. And Doak, certainly from all the things that are said about him, has a quality and ability that nobody else in that squad has as well. I don't expect him to be starting against Germany ultimately. However,
we'll see him. We will see him.
I think there's without doubt we will see him at some point. Whether it's when we're chasing a game, whether it's we're actually ahead in a game and we need an out ball and we need someone that can carry the ball 30, 40 yards at pace up the field. Like, again, bad example here, but Motherwell used to do that with Chris Cadden when he came into the team as well.
And just like, kick out the park.
just give it to Cadden. He'll carry it 40 yards up the field at pace, and he'll run it out of play.
The Brandon Barkers of this world.
100%, but a good version of that, like a good quality version of that. The one that I was curious as well, again, I was sort of having a bit of digging about him before we spoke as well, was one of the other uncapped players in the squad, which is Ross McCrory, who obviously was out at the start of the season because he had that I'm going to say bonitis, so if you watch Futurama, you'll understand what bonitis is. But that's in my head what Ross McCrory had, was that he had bonitis. Since then, he's come back and he has been playing the sort of right back, right wing back role, and it's such an opportunity for him. Like, again, that spot is, I would say, he's the only spot within the team that we just don't know. Mm-hmm. Like, the centre halves, there will be changes within there in terms of fitness and in terms of who's ready. The midfield will change ever so slightly, but again, you sort of know who the pieces are. The striker, and whether it's Dykes or whether it's Adams, again, or again, whether it's Shankland did enough against the Netherlands, you kind of know what those are going to be in the role it's going to play. The right wing back role is the one which we do not know who. Nobody knows who is going to start that game against Germany, and the two friendlies could be pivotal for that ultimately.
Buzz for this, because they both got a claim here, because you've got Ralston, who's known more. He's a more known quantity in the squad on the training pitch. I know McCrory's been there, but Ralston's been in the squads long term now, pretty much. Yep. He's a bit of a fixture, and he's played 8 or 9 times, I think, and he's got a goal. And without playing in the biggest games, he hasn't let us down. He's actually played quite well in games. But on the flip side, McCrory has I've been playing 90 minutes every week for the last 6 months that Ralston doesn't have. So there's the two angles that we can go on, and I think we'll see both of them in the tournament, no doubt. And what McCrory, he's got the physicals, definitely, where he'll be able to get up and down, and at least he's been playing that role as a specialist this season. It's not always where he's been done. The other good thing for McCrory is he can be bumped around and used in other areas of the team. So he is, in terms of if it was him or Johnson, I think he was always going to win it for the experience and the ability to play elsewhere, which you're always going to bring in a squad. But McCrory, I've not followed him a lot. He was a very up and down player here where you didn't so I'm intrigued. But the one thing I do like about athletic players is, see, on their day, they're really fucking handy. It's like, if you know what I mean, like, they can just get up and down. If he gets momentum, he can dribble. You know, he can just drive past people. If you're only getting on 50 minutes, these things I can vision it. I don't want to see him playing centre mid for 90 minutes, but out there for 15, 20, when the going's good, he gets excited. He can build momentum. I can picture him in a specific moment, maybe like surprising. O'Donnell done it. Yeah. He done it. O'Donnell he had some Hochin moments in that Euros. He had some spectacularly good moments. But the beauty for McCrory is we don't necessarily have to rely on him to the degree we had with O'Donnell in the last Euros. So he'll be interesting to see. I suppose one thing I'll do just before we do finish, Ryan Jack, think he's just a stalwart. I think people were screwing up their face, but he has a skill set that we don't really have. He's not been playing a lot, but Clark knows him, and Clark's checking if he's fit. I think Clark, and if he is fit, he'll just bring him along, because he can, again, specialist that he can use.
Yeah, I completely agree. That was the one that was the pick that a lot of people get terribly upset about. Now,
like, again, we've got loads of folk to bring.
I know. Fucking number one, fucking grow up. Number two, like, there is nobody. Every one of our midfielders is as good a Scotland midfielder. Like, basically, everyone within the squad that is a midfielder is as good a Scotland midfielder as any that's been in my lifetime, more or less. Like, some are a little bit below, probably some of the best ones, like Fletcher McAllister. Yeah. But again, everyone within that is certainly within that conversation. Okay, in terms of McGinn, McGregor, McTominay, Christie, McLean, Gilmore, and Armstrong. All of them have had as big contributions to Scotland as anyone else in my lifetime. Right, I have no criticism for them whatsoever. I would include Ryan Jack within that as well. I was doing my just having a check and just checking in. Like, I'm genuinely surprised at how few caps relatively Ryan Jack has. Simply on the basis that Ryan Jack reeks of a Steve Clarke player, first and foremost. And number two, Ryan Jack can tackle players, can harry players, and can do things in that midfield that no one else there can do. And if you think that Ryan Jack shouldn't be in the Scotland squad because he's barely played, I think that's an entirely reasonable opinion to hold. I would not disagree with you. He's not played an awful lot of football. If you think Ryan Jack shouldn't be in the Scotland squad because he's not good, then I think you're thick. Is the long and the short of it. If you think he shouldn't be there because of fitness, fine. Won't argue with you on that. If you think he's not good enough, you're an idiot. Frankly, he has contributed a significant amount to Scotland.
And Clark's era as well. And
I think Scotland are generally a better team when Ryan Jack is in it. I think there was a period.
There was a period where Jack was playing better than McGregor, and I think Jack has brought the best out of McGregor. I think McGregor's came on because he had a challenge for that position.
I think all of the midfielders that Scotland have complement each other in very unique ways. Which again, we don't even see that at club level for them. We are incredibly fortunate to have this generation of midfielders that we have, because like Billy Gilmore makes Cal McGregor a better player. Cal McGregor in turn makes Christie and Armstrong better players within there as well. Kenny McLean can do things that nobody else in that team can really do in terms of retaining the ball and moving the ball. He's very different in that respect. John McGinn is probably fundamentally the best of all of them, but again, is a better player when he's playing alongside them. Like it's just there's a balance.
There's quite a unique player, and the thing about McGinn and McTominay that's fun is that when we play against teams, we're the only team that plays in our way. Like, because it is so up and at them. It's all about athleticism. It's goals coming from places you don't expect them to. Do you know? So I think when Scotland are really at it, I think it can be hard to really know where the threats are coming from. Unusual players, unusual styles. It's not like
completely agree.
Wingers that are hugging the touchline or dribbling passive. It's people that are fucking like the lungs and they're just battered and they're desperate and they've got and then they've also got quality when it comes to the box. Just before we go, I fancy personally, I think the Adams or Dykes or Shankland will go right to the wire. The worry is that we do have Tierney coming back of a long-term injury. There's about 6 or 7 players that are either carrying injury, Armstrong, Adams, Tierney, or they're coming back off a long-term one, and we're not sure. So we don't really know. We're still not certain what shape everyone's in, and we'll find that out in the coming weeks. But if so, I think we'll probably be using McGinn and McTominay in the forward roles with Adams. That's my or Dykes, because Dykes is kind of earned it. It's always, even though I think most people would say footballer-wise he's the worst of the 3. Yeah, but he brings.
I think footballer-wise he might be the worst footballer in the squad.
Yeah.
Broadly, and again, I love him to bits. I absolutely love him to bits. And I love him playing for Scotland. He's contributed such a huge amount, but on a pure footballing basis, he's such a weird player and never stops being weird in that respect. I think the only other person worse suited, like actually fundamentally playing football in the squad, is Craig Gordon, and
who's one of the worst players on the entire planet. I think. Actual football
wise, yes.
So obviously we've got him or Kelly's going to be going up the road. So we've got.
I think in reality, that all 4 of them will travel to Germany
because he can take them. Because Kelly's I've heard Kelly's a bit of a banter boy, popular guy. Less chatty, more savvy. It would be mad. I
think less chatty. I think. No, I'm not joking. I think he'll end up taking all 4 on the basis that should someone get injured, then you can replace him with another goalkeeper.
Oh, can you do that? Right, you're as well just fucking taking them all then. Just
I think if Clarke was going to make a decision and like just not take somebody, I think it would already have been made. Like Clarke has never felt like a ditherer around decisions. He makes his decision right or wrong, and he will stick with it.
Last question, the big question. which two people? So you think one of the goalies is going to get cut, but they're going to go along anyway?
Yeah, I think so.
And then who's the outfield player that's not going?
I suspect it will be a defender. I think it will be one of the centre halves. If it were me, and again, as you know fine well, Tony, I have an agenda. But no, I would think it will be, again, like you talk about injuries and stuff like that. I don't actually know how fit and firing Grant Hanley has been. Suter has been in and out of the Rangers team. I suspect it will come. I think it will be one of those two that will get dropped from the squad. Everywhere else, you can't. I certainly wouldn't drop any of the midfielders. You're not going to drop any of the attacking players.
We don't have that many either. Just don't have that many.
There aren't that many there.
And Forrest can play a few different roles. Andrew Bingham. The Forrest story's cool, eh?
Forrest in as a forward as well as an absolute red herring for me. Like, I think theoretically, yes, he might play as a forward. I think in reality, if he's going to contribute, it will be from that right wing role.
But I think it's a cool story, the Forrest one. I
agree.
And the way Clark spoke about him today, I like that, because Clark can be like that quite sometimes, when he's quite whimsical. And he always has a bit of a glint in his eye, Clark, despite being like thought of as quite boring. But he always does that, and it was quite. And I thought it was a nice statement. And he said he's picking Forrest. It's more for him to. It's like he's making a statement to a lot of players. It's and all those young laddies that he's about to bring through that were probably going to be in that next generation. It's like a pointed statement to them. And again, when you've got 26 players, there's room to do these things.
And again,
and he's flying.
Over the last 6 weeks, he's been class.
He's been one of the best players in Scotland, so he's flying.
Again,
so why not?
Pick the players in form. Pick the players. And again, if James Forrest plays 4 more games in his career, and it happens to be these 4 Scotland games, fine, genuinely.
And he might have a goal in him. He's got. We don't have a lot of goal scorers, and he can score goals. And I know he doesn't do it all the time for Scotland. And I know there's arguments when he was in his prime, he wasn't even particularly good at scoring. But right now he's flying. He's feeling good. He's probably been one of the main reasons. If Celtic get that double, he's been one of the main reasons. He's turned it around. Hugely. And even a guy like him at his age, who's achieved as much as he has, he will be walking on sunshine today. He won't do it in front of people, because I think he'll be over a professional. In his private time, he won't be able to believe it. I really do.
Yeah.
For this to actually happen, because you were waiting for him to turn up at Hibs, Hearts, or Aberdeen. I think that's what we were all waiting to see. That was the next stage, and he'd probably be quite good. People were wondering if he could fucking move properly anymore, or he could play X amount of minutes. So I think it's class. And out of all the players, he's one of the best finishers in that squad. That's because we've not blessed with him.
All I want is for him to get half a yard on the right hand side, step inside, and click corner in the opposite corner. Because I feel like I've seen that goal, and again, it's because Forrest's record against Motherwell is ridiculous. But I feel like I've seen that goal 1,000 times, and I want that one more time. I want the rounding off of that, like you say, class story, good thing, nice thing as well. And like I say, as much as we laugh at my agenda with Suter or Hanley, I think everyone else, I think it becomes down to the two of them and who will be fitter out of the two. All the other centre halves in the squad have played a role for Scotland recently. Like Liam Cooper, for example, again,
Norway, big role.
He played, and again, I think it was Clark spoke afterwards, and the players spoke afterwards about how important Cooper was to getting that result. Like, he came on, he's the natural replacement for Tierney. I think McKenna can do that on that side as well, but I think Cooper's the closest to that. Nobody's Kieran Tierney, but I think he's the closest one to that. So I think, and again, we know that it's unlikely that Tierney will play 3 games in a row. So again, we need someone else that can step into that role. He can do it. He has done it. I think he'll do it again.
So let's all calm down. Let's not shout at Steve Clark. Let's not worry about who's been picked. Let's all come together. We're moving our way to Germany, and this is all really happening now. So let's pack your bags. Let's go. It's going to be fucking unbelievably class.
It'll be a good carry on anyway. Regardless of what happens, it's going to be a good carry on.
Exactly.
I also enjoy that you've turned up in your Scotland shirt tonight. Is that just your attire on a daily basis?
I was out getting something before I met you, and it was raining, so I pulled it off, and I thought, you know what? Let's just put this on. Let's just put it on. Let's just get in the mode. And I was proper. I was with the announcement today. I was working from home and I had Sky Sports News on, waiting for 11 o'clock to come, and I was actually excited, waiting for it to come. And even though, as I said, I didn't think there was much jeopardy with the squad, it was more just there was an hour on Sky Sports News talking about Scotland, and then Clark's on. So it was like nearly 2 hours of just Scotland content about building up to this. I watched the new video, the announcement video. I see my fucking pal on it in Telfer. Just like you get, I know that, and I know you've been doing work with the Scotland HQ, and I know Telfer's going to do stuff, and it's just class. It's just class. It's just fun, and you're like, you just got a good buzz on knowing that what we're all gonna get to do. So hopefully I see loads of people over there. Hopefully we get to have a laugh and everyone stays safe and we win a fucking match.
Just get to the see if we win one fucking game, we'll probably go to the knockouts, Tony. And then after that, who gives a shit? Just win a fucking game.
I like to think that this squad has 90 minutes in it at this tournament. That it's good enough. There's enough faith that there's a 90 against between those 3 games. There's a special performance in there, and that's all it needs to be legends like that.
Win a game, get a draw against somebody. Go to
finish second. You'd probably finish second with that. So, right, brilliant, Graeme. Thanks very much. Hope to see you there at some point in Germany. I'm sure I'll catch up with you in Cologne or something along those lines if you're coming down that way. So, yeah, cheers, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.